what would Grandma say?
I think she would be excited. I think she would say it's all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like, you know, she put a lot of time into me as a kid and, you know, making sure that I was good. You know, obviously my situation wasn't the best, but I grew up with a lot of love, and, you know, I wouldn't change anything about the way I grew up.
And that's why you have her picture right
Absolutely.
there. And the next time you go, your plaque will be there with the NY logo. And you've already talked about, you know, the Yankees are your home. You won the World Series. I've always asked pro athletes this that stay in New York. I mean, you're from California.
Mm-hmm.
You lived in Cleveland for a long time, and your children were born in three of your four, right?
Yeah.
Were born in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Why stay in the New Jersey, New York area?
Why not? This is New York City. You know what I mean? Like, I always feel like, you know, even the first couple off seasons that we lived here, we would go back to California for Christmas, and I'm like, why are we leaving New York City? Like, this is the Christmas place, capital. So,
I love that.
everything is here. You
Yeah.
know, everything revolves around this city. And being a Yankee, I mean, you know, there's no better place to really live.
Who was the first Yankee teammate, though, that you talked to after you got the call from the Hall of Fame?
Oh man, so the first,
Because I know it was a lot at once.
The first teammate that I actually
Yeah.
talked to was Derek the next day. The first person to call me was Andy.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, it's just Andy,
The pitcher,
Andy's
yeah.
nature. But he was the first person to call me. When I looked at my phone, he was the first missed call that I had. And then Derek was the
That's
first
fun.
person I was able to get back to.
All right, I love that you brought up Andy because I didn't know that he was the first one to call you. You kind of counseled and huddled with him as you were aging, as you had a couple of injuries. You were coming back from injury, I guess it was your knee, right, in 2014. And you started focusing more on a cutter and more about pitching with control over speed. How did Andy's influence in that time change and continue your career to get you to the Hall of Fame?
No, Andy was a huge influence on, you know, me changing, you know, my philosophy as pitching, as a pitcher. I think I turned myself into a version of him. You know, if you really look at, you know, the way I pitched the last 5 years of my career, you know, having the chance to have him there, learn the cutter, learn when to throw it, how to throw it, where to start it, was huge. And then even learning the backdoor slider was a big part of my arsenal, you know, late in my career, and that all came from him. So, you know, having a chance to, you know, and even, you know, when I first got to New York and, you know, kind of taking over as the ace of the team, like him walking me through all of that stuff and having my back. I mean, you know, in 09, I felt like, you know, I was the best pitcher on the team, but he was the leader of our staff.
Your whole journey, and I know you celebrate your sobriety birthday every year and all about that. Looking back, I guess it was 2015, how far has pro sports come talking about mental health?
For me, it was just, you know, wanting to make the right decision for my family, wanting to prolong my career. And I just thank the Yankees, you know, Joe Girardi, and the Steinbrenner family for being able to accept, you know, me doing the right thing at the time, and really changed my life. You know, 9 years ago when I made that decision, I didn't know I'd be sitting here on my way to Cooperstown, you know, but if I don't make that decision, then I'm not. To hear my name with those players.
And it's the top of the top. I mean, this is just the Hall of Fame.
And even, you know, my dad, my grandfather and my dad were huge Bob Gibson fans. So all you hear about is Bob Gibson and how great he was and all these different things. And, you know, I have the same amount of wins as Bob Gibson. So I know, like, my grandfather and my dad would be excited about that.